and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Carrie Gillespie, and I'm so excited for today's episode. We have two special guests here today, two four-legged guests, which means that we have 8 legs total in dogs, and then of course we have 2 legs apiece as humans. Jess is my guest here today. Hi. Jess, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, I'm happy to be here, and so are Tilly and Tucker.
Tilly and Tucker. Okay,
yes.
I was going to have you tell us about them, and you are fostering them right now. They're siblings, but tell us more.
So we pull almost all of our dogs from a local rescue, Kansas City Pet Project, and they came in to Kansas City Pet Project as essentially owner surrenders.
Sure.
My guess is that they maybe had a litter, maybe got overwhelmed, decided they couldn't do it, and they surrendered these 2 guys alone.
Yeah, they're so cute.
Yes.
They're really pretty chill in terms of puppies. We've had some puppies that are nuts, but they're pretty chill.
Yeah, they can have their crazy wild side. They run and play and have fun, but they are definitely a little more sensitive with new places and new people, and so it makes it easy to take them places.
It does make it easy to take them places. They're just going to chill here with us, and if they do run off, they have the whole studio, as
Perfect.
I told you, so they can make it their own, but we're so excited to have them in studio. And I'm really excited to have you on because we were volunteers for Missouri Pit Bull Rescue. That's where I met you. You did the puppy program there. You ran the puppy program.
Yes.
And we have since started a new rescue. Missouri Pit Bull Rescue has closed. The founder, who's been doing it for 25 plus years, is retiring. Congrats to her on retiring. But there's a new one starting.
Yes.
So tell us about Made A Promise Rescue.
So Made A Promise Rescue, kind of like you said, was born out of volunteers that all shared, the love of rescuing dogs and specifically pit bulls. And when Missouri Pit Bull Rescue was in the stages of shutting down, we just felt like, man, we can't lose that resource.
No.
There's always a need, and there's always a need for pit bulls, and we need as many resources as we can to have safe places for them to go.
Yeah.
So we didn't let it go.
No.
And we let it naturally be born. We came together, we're excited. We're all like, how cool is it to come find people that all love to do the same thing you do, and we're saving lives and we're making differences, and it's been great so far.
Yeah, it has been great. So before we jump into more about puppy fostering, you guys, Jess is a beast. This woman has fostered and cared for so many dogs, but puppies, mamas and puppies specifically. What is your number at in terms of fostering? How many dogs have you fostered or helped find homes for?
I think I just count usually what I've fostered, and mainly I'm so glad I did, because if you get so far away, you start to forget things, and you think you never will. So it's like a nice reference list to remember names and everything else. But I think I'm around like 260 plus something.
260 dogs she has fostered herself. So truly, she is incredible. What you do is incredible.
Thank
and
you.
We're so lucky to have you as a part of NPR and helping the puppies. Now, like I was saying, she took over doing the puppies for Missouri Pit Bull Rescue because it's a lot of work to do puppies. The original founder of NPR was like, I don't want to do puppies. I don't have the time for that.
We never had a puppy program.
No, and you started it.
Yeah.
And she really changed the game for us, and it's been a really great resource. So why have you always been drawn to puppies? But I also want to say you're really drawn to mama dogs.
Yeah.
We never leave the mamas behind. You have fostered mamas who have been about to give birth and then given birth with you, and then fostered them during the process of nursing and things like that. So why have you always been drawn to mamas and puppies?
I think it was naturally easier. I mean, I started fostering when I was in college by mistake, that kind of thing where like a dog's getting ready to be put down. The only thing you can do to save it is foster, and you're like, that's terrifying. Like, will I get the support? Will it get adopted? And I just went for it, and I never looked back. So I've always been in situations, I think then I had adults in all different breeds and everything. But then I was in situations where I maybe had a dog in the house that was not as great with other dogs. I mean, just puppies are an easy way to integrate into the house.
They are.
They're a lot more work than doing adult dogs because they're busy and they're not potty trained and everything else. But I kind of just stuck with that. I foster failed 2 of my dogs. My male isn't always great with other dogs. He's amazing with the puppies. I mean, like every time a new puppy walks in, they're like, hey, let me show you around.
Welcome.
This is the house. You can stand underneath me. And then, of course, like an hour later, they're like, nah, you're on your own.
Yeah.
But I've just kind of gravitated towards them. And then I did a mom, I don't even know how many years ago now, that was just kind of like a plea, like she was going to be giving birth at the shelter and that's no place for a dog. And at the time we were going to pull it into our mini shelter with Missouri Pit Bull. I was like, I guess I could try it. And man, do I love the moms.
Yes.
There's something about them going through that experience and like how taxing it is on their body. And like most of them are puppies themselves, or like usually a 1-year-old dog or something. And the whole time I'm looking at them like, you will never do this again.
Yeah.
Like you just get to be a dog after this.
Yes.
Like you are so selfless. They're so worried about their puppies. They're such good moms. And they're amazing. You know, like they didn't ask to do that. They didn't ask to go through that, and they do it amazingly. And I don't know, those moms always have like a very soft spot for me because of that. Yeah.
They're so appreciative too. We've had some moms in the program that you've said too, you can tell like when they get to you and they feel safe, the relief in their body.
Yeah.
It's like they relax, because some of these dogs have been pregnant, living on the street or living outside. And so they're trying to survive.
Yeah.
So once they get to you and they're like, I'm not only surviving, like I'm getting a warm bed, toys, like all the food I can eat pretty much, like they just breathe a sigh of relief out of that, that mode of survival mode. So I know there's been some moms that have been really near and dear to your heart. Do you have any off the top of your head? I know Marmee was really...
yeah. Anytime you have a tough situation, you know, like Marmee unfortunately lost some of her puppies, and, you know, you just like emotionally bond together.
Yeah.
You know, like she was such a great mom and wanted nothing but the best for her puppies and was so concerned about them. I'd say almost all of my puppies. Nemu was my first mom. She was amazing. I was actually thinking back to like one time I always have like a big built-up kennel thing for the puppies and the moms when they're nursing and everything. And I had a mom that was so obsessed with toys, which reminded me how young she was.
Yeah.
So when the puppies got their new toys to play with, she was like taking each toy from them and she's like hoarding them. And I'm like, oh, because you're just a puppy yourself.
And you've never had them probably.
Yeah, and she's thrilled, you know. And so I had to start like giving her time separate so they could play with any toys, because she was like keeping them all to herself, like in an adorable way, you know.
She was like, I want this.
She's like, I would love a toy.
Yes.
I'm like, that's a puppy-sized toy.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay, so tell us I have fostered puppies before.
Yep.
And you have walked me through the process, and I do think it's a good gateway drug, if I do say so myself, fostering a puppy.
Addicting, yes.
But it is different from fostering an adult. And one of the things I always tell people is that when fostering a puppy, they usually don't last as long. So what I mean when I say that is you don't have them in your care as long, because everyone wants a puppy. So the adult dogs I've had, Paco, I had for almost 6 months.
Yep.
He was an adult dog, but the puppies tend to go a lot quicker. So that's why I say it's a good gateway.
Yep.
But it is harder for a lot of other reasons. One of them being they're not potty trained. Are there any other things that you think are really different from fostering an adult to fostering a puppy?
I would say, I mean, obviously just the constant, you know, they're busy.
Yeah.
I mean, of course they're adorable. Of course, you know, you get all the like little snuggles and all of the cute things that the puppies do when they're learning and everything. I would say just the busyness of things.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they're busy. You get to help shape them. I mean, you do that with...
Oh, that was so cute.
That was so cute, Tucker.
Aww.
You get to do that with adult dogs. You know, you get to teach them new things and everything. But the puppies just, I don't know. They're so innocent.
Yeah.
I mean, they come to you and they're like, you know, sometimes terrified.
Yeah.
And you get to watch them blossom and, you know, become more independent.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of fun to do. And although puppies do stay longer, and of course it matters from different rescues, it's almost like you have to screen a little harder for puppies.
You do, yeah. Walk us through some of the screening process, because as we said before, everyone wants a puppy, and there are times when we get applications and it's like, I know these people they don't really want a puppy. Like, and after talking to them for a little bit, you kind of have to talk them out of it, because it's like, I don't know that a puppy is the right fit for you. Like,
Yes.
walk us through some of the screening process for screening for a puppy.
I think, I mean, very similar to an adult dog too. You know, you have to make sure what people's motives are, and then do they have the time for a puppy?
Yeah.
And a lot of times someone that comes at you may be a little hard with like I just fell in love with the picture and I love them.
Which, you guys, is kind of a red flag to me.
Yeah,
We've
it's
talked
hard.
about this before, which I understand that some people want a blue pit bull or a red, a red-nosed pit bull, but I really, when someone says I fell in love with their picture, I kind of like sirens.
Yeah.
There's so much more to a dog than just their picture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not, a no-go from that.
No.
Like, you talk to them and of course they fell in love with their picture, but maybe they also learned something about them through their bio and they felt like they were a good fit. Or we post a lot of videos so they get to know them a little bit through personality, but the diehard, just like, I can't live without this dog, I need this dog, is a little bit of a red flag.
A little bit of a red flag, yeah.
But yeah, you have to make sure, you have to make sure that someone's committed to all of the stages.
Yeah.
Puppies are relatively easy they're busy and they're, having accidents and all of the things they're doing. But then they're teenagers.
Yeah.
And then they're like just mini,
Tornadoes.
And they're always doing something.
Yeah.
And they're just like not into their own yet. They haven't matured. They're trying to push limits.
Yeah.
It's funny too, I think that happens when you train a dog when they're really young. You're like, oh, we're doing so good. They know so much. And then they like hit that teen phase and like everything you've learned really is like goes out the window. So that's when I need people to be committed. Because like you can clean up messes and stuff, but like when the behavior stuff starts to hit and you really have to work through that, like, can you work through that part? Because the teenagers years are the hardest years.
I always tell people too, when it comes to puppies, you can work on shaping them, you can train them and shape them in a certain way, but also you might get to the point where that dog becomes a teenager and that dog is clearly showing or saying that they want to be an only dog.
Yeah.
And you have another dog at home. So I do think that there's a lot of, nature versus nurture. There's always the talk in that, but I do think some dogs, especially pit bulls, it's not uncommon for them to want to be an only dog.
Yeah, and you saying that is funny because sometimes my conversations when I'm screening applicants, when I'm like, okay, you've had a pit bull, what's your experience? And they're like, great with everything, everyone, every animal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I have to convince you now because that's not your experience and that's okay.
Yeah.
But, being in rescue, and I was naive when I came into rescue. I had 2 of my own pit bulls. I didn't know everything that you learn just from seeing owner relinquishments and people trying to contact you with their problems. Yeah. And also, like, we're so lucky. I love small rescue because you get to be involved in the decisions and you get to know where your dogs go, and that's why you can let the dogs go. It makes it so easy. Everyone's like, how do you do it? I'm like, because I get to see them live their best life. Like, I joke, my dogs were like, why didn't I get adopted out? You found some like great homes for these dogs. Yeah. And I get to follow them and I get to see them through everything. But, convincing someone, I love when I'm in the call and someone's like, yeah, my dog was selective in this scenario. Like, I don't need it like my dog was just like, didn't like anything, but just experiencing that they're not just like easygoing with everything. And sometimes people will be like, well, I did all the training and so they grew up and they were great with everything. And I was like, yes, it's always nurture versus nature. Like, do everything, expose them, see how we can move the needle and how we can influence who they become, but know that like we can't alter everything.
We can't. There's genetics, there's other things that play a role in it, to be honest with you. And so even dogs that come from great backgrounds, great homes, they can develop where they are clearly telling us that they want to be an only dog or that they're reactive to certain things. So I think that there's like being open to the fact that this dog is a puppy right now and is doing great, but there's a chance that Tucker or Tilly grow up to be needing to be an only dog. Yeah. And so where's their commitment at from there?
Yes. Like, what are you going to do when they don't like the other dog in the home? Or like, is it important to you to have a dog? And it's not just pit bulls that have this, selectiveness. A lot of breeds do, but like, how important is it to have a super social dog that you can bring to every event and have all the family come over with all their dogs? Because maybe that's not a reality when this dog grows up. Yep. And if that's important to you, then we maybe look at a different breed. Yeah. And if it's not, because they have amazing qualities and you're okay with that because you love pit bulls and you know everything they bring to your life, you're okay with the fact that they're not going to your family gatherings with other dogs because they don't like one of those dogs. It's like setting them up for success, and we have to make sure that we have great people who do that for them, put them in good situations, and always let them succeed. Yeah, because they want to succeed.
Yeah. There's more uncertainty with puppies like this. I was talking in a previous episode about fostering and how when you foster an adult dog, you get to, there's so much, I mean, by the time Paco was adopted, my foster, I knew him like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
And I could find a good home for him. I could match him with a good home because I knew him so well. But with a puppy, you're right, there's so much we don't know about them because they're not fully themselves yet.
No.
And so it's not harder, but there's a lot more unknowns when you're matching them with someone.
Yes, and I always say to potential adopters, like, there's pluses and minuses to each scenario, right?
Yep.
Like, puppies, we know how they were treated.
Yep.
They likely came to me early enough
That they'll be fine.
That they'll be fine. They don't have this unknown background with a kid or with whatever situation.
Yeah.
That's usually a concern for most people. Just like, I want to know the dog's background because I have kids, and I get it. But the negative is we don't know who they're going to be.
Yep.
And then the negative with an adult dog is we don't know their background and what they went through. But the positive is we know who they are because they've matured and we know they're showing us who they are.
Yeah, you're so cute. He was kind of like stuck in this little crevice here. So I'm like, come here, friend.
Come here.
Come here. Come on. How are they together? Like, how do they get along pretty good? Like, is one more dominant than the other?
They get along great. And, they get into little
tussles
like
for sure. Like siblings do.
Mm-hmm.
This one is just done.
Yes.
Tilly, come here.
Well, we took her to an event this weekend and she just put her belly up the entire time.
Of course she did.
And we were like, wow, you know how to work it to get all the people over to love you.
Yes. Oh.
But they came to me very shy. Like, Tucker wouldn't even make eye contact when he first came to me. He was like, I'm not sure what you want from me. And I was like, you're going to learn that we just have to kiss.
Yes.
We just need kisses.
I would also love to talk with you about puppy veterinary care because a lot of times we are seeing, I had Pet Resource Center of Kansas City in here, and we were chatting with them about vaccinations, and parvo is deadly, and obviously it's deadly in adults, but we see a lot of puppies come through with parvo.
Yep.
And how can people be better puppy owners, or what are signs to look for that are more serious in a puppy?
I think kind of hard sometimes, honestly. Puppies, usually will have some sort of, I don't want to say worms necessarily.
Yes.
But you know what I mean? Like,
they'll have puppies will a lot of times have some kind of tummy stuff.
Puppies have tummy stuff.
They have tummy stuff.
They chew on stuff. They swallow stick. They usually have some sort of. They usually get something passed on from mom.
Yep.
Like, they're dewormed. They're treated for all of those things, but they just have. They could get sick.
Yeah.
And especially when you're adopting, like, maybe they're going to come down with kennel cough, and kennel cough can make them look really kind of like bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you're like, are you okay kind of thing. So with puppies, they can just turn so fast. You know, so like kennel cough can hit them hard and then they're down and you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is obviously prevention.
Yes.
You have to get vaccines for puppies. I understand the balance of, tighter testing being out there now and not over vaccinating, but puppies need their vaccines.
Especially when you're talking about something like parvo.
Parvo is horrible, and it is horrible for these puppies, and there is not...
And they won't live through it. Most of them will not live through it.
Yeah, there's not treatment. It's supportive care. There is an antibody now that does dramatically help, but it's expensive. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want them to go through this. And sometimes you catch a puppy early on in it, and they don't make it. And sometimes you catch them later on, and they make it. I mean, you just don't know.
You just don't know. And we've had a couple puppies in... NPR. There was one that Nikki was fostering, a little white one. I forgot his name. It was like the snowman.
They were brothers.
Yes, the snowman
From Olaf.
Yes, Olaf.
Yeah.
And he was precious, and he was doing fine. And then all of a sudden, one day he wasn't. And hearing that we lost him to parvo, we were all just like devastated. It's
horrible.
It's horrible to watch a puppy like die through, because it kind of happens slow, like them like slipping away.
Yes,
it's really hard to watch. Yes.
Yeah. And those puppies got the care, the supportive care that they could get. And
they got everything they could have gotten.
That's what I mean. Like, even with all of that care, they got early intervention. She was on it.
Yeah.
She took them in. They were tested negative.
Yeah.
And then the next day tested positive. I mean, like, there was no waiting and seeing, and those dogs still didn't make it.
Yeah.
And it was devastating for everyone involved. So anyone that puppy fosters with me knows how neurotic I am.
We're really picky about that. Yeah.
If you don't experience it, it's hard to know how serious it is. You don't take your dogs and adopt them and then go into a pet store and put them on the ground.
Please do not do that. No.
You don't go to high traffic areas. I mean, I really don't go like typically outside of my yard, you know, with my new puppies. They need a couple rounds of vaccines. Sometimes their vaccines don't initially count because it a little bit depends on when they stop nursing and the coverage they get from mom. So you can have a little bit of lapse where they're not covered. Yeah. And they need a couple rounds to be fully covered.
They do. Sometimes I take my Doogie to the dog park and sometimes I'll see pretty young puppies in there. And I don't want to be a Karen, but a lot of times I'm like, that puppy is too young to, like, I can tell by how the puppy looks that they are not old enough to have gotten certain vaccines. Yeah. So being in high traffic areas like that is really dangerous until the puppies, as you said, you guys are just goofballs. You're going to fall off, first of all.
I know, we're working on it.
Until they've gotten those vaccines. So it's not being like over cautious. Like that is truly stuff that people need to be careful of.
You just have to be careful. And I understand that, you know, it's expensive to own a dog and to get a puppy and all of those things, but like you said, there's resources out there. There's great nonprofits doing great work.
You can get it for free at PRCKC. They'll give your dog a parvo rabies vaccine for free.
So there's no excuse not to get it done. There's no excuse to not be diligent. It's their lives that are at stake, and these guys are fragile, you know. So it's just like babies, you know.
Yes.
Yet they have the new immune systems. They do not have the coverage built up yet. Yeah. And those are important things to not skip out on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. What is a case that has been more challenging? And to be honest with you, tell us. I would love to know the answer to this. How many dogs have you had in your house at one time?
Am I allowed to say that?
Yes. Because it's temporary. So you're not breaking any laws or anything. This is foster based.
Yes. As long as they're under a certain age, you're not at fault. I think that I have possibly had, I think it was 16.
I was going to say 16 or 17.
I can't remember. It was a dark time in my life.
And you were like, I might have overdone it.
I might have overdone it. I think we've joked about what movie is it?
When she's like, I took 7. I took 7. She's like, I took 17.
And the joke too is like, we started pulling dogs with our new rescue, and I have a teen dog that's essentially an adult now that I'm fostering, and I was like, I'm just going to hold off. You know, I have Mom. And I just, you know, don't want to add too much to my plate. And a week and a half in, all of our fosters filled up because it takes no time. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'll take the 2, you know, because you see them and then you want to save them.
Well, for someone who's had 16 in their house at one time, what is having 2? Like, that's nothing to her.
No, it was a chaotic zoo, but it was at a time when dogs were getting adopted relatively
quickly,
so it was manageable, but it was a lot.
It was a lot.
Yeah, I always joke, when I leave work, I'm like, I'm just going to my second job.
Seriously.
My second unpaid job.
Seriously.
But I mean, I can't imagine not doing this.
What's the biggest amount of litter like that a dog has had? Like 12?
No, I think I had a litter with 11.
Okay, I was gonna say 10 or something. It has to be 10 plus.
Yeah, and Mom probably didn't. I was always intervening. Aww. I was like, this puppy needs to eat now. Yeah. And so I'd hold some.
She was busy,
She was busy. And they like don't have enough almost to give all those dogs. But that was a lot. I mean, but all of my litters, my very first one was 6. And then after that, I think they were all like 10 and then 11. I mean, I was like, and you don't know because it's kind of a little bit of wasted money to get like x-rays to know how many dogs they're going to have. It's like when you're in rescue, you want to spend the funds wisely. Yeah. So my first dog, I did know, and I knew what to expect. But the other ones, it's just like they'll have multiple puppies in a row. Yeah. And then they'll take a break. They could take a break for like 2 hours.
Yes.
And so all of a sudden, you're like, she's got to be done, right? She's got to be done. And then they pop out another one. And you're like, oh my God, this has to stop at some point. But that also is like a very cool experience. And my friend had coined me the midwoof. Oh. So I love that. It is oddly stressful, and just like I'm sure in childbirth, it always happens in the middle of the night for whatever reason. Yes. So you're just by yourself praying that everything goes well.
I know, praying and hoping.
Yeah.
I want to talk real quick before we wrap up. I had a couple episodes back, I had a friend on from Great Plains SPCA, and we were talking about myths of shelter dogs. And one of the myths we busted was that if you can't adopt because you want a puppy. And we know firsthand that if you want a puppy, there are puppies everywhere.
Oh my gosh. Well, and we kind of joked when we started this rescue, because we don't have a shelter, and it's very hard to find adult foster homes, you know what I mean? And especially for dogs that are selective and all of these things. So I was like, we can't just be a puppy rescue.
Yeah.
And the person that does intake at KCPP was like, there's a need for it.
There is a need.
You could do that, you know, and I know there is. There's 1 million dogs we're unable to take. And there's a whole litter that came through the other day that I don't have the space for, you know what I mean? So, man, is there puppies to choose from left and right.
Yeah, and not just pit bulls. Obviously, we specialize in pit bulls, but there are, I saw blue heeler puppies that came in the other day that were so beautiful. I've seen shepherd puppies, Great Pyrenees puppies. A lot of these are mixes, but they're beautiful dogs. If pit bulls maybe don't strike your fancy like they do for us. But there are tons of puppies in shelters. You just look around. Just look around. I swear to God, you don't need to go to a breeder if you like. That doesn't need to be the reason you don't adopt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you do go to a breeder, then just make sure that you're actually going to a legitimate breeder.
Which is harder and harder these days.
It's so hard, and I know no one actually does that investigation and that work, and going to site visits and seeing the mom and dad and getting the health certificates and all the things that people who love the breed should be doing.
Yeah.
So there is an abundance of, like you said, different breeds, different puppies everywhere. There's 1 million rescues and shelters everywhere you turn. You can find some sort of specific rescue for the breed of dog that you love.
So if people want to learn more about Made A Promise Rescue, or maybe they want to become a puppy foster, what do you have to say to them?
Join us.
We're nuts. Join us.
Join us. No, I do say join us. I mean, I hope that people find us that are as excited as we are. You know, I've been with so many different shelters, and a big part of what I'm committed to is just like, I want it to be a great place for volunteers. I know everyone's doing this for free. I know they're doing it on their extra time. Like, we appreciate you. I'm a volunteer too, you know, like, I just think there's not enough praise given to all of the things that volunteers do, regardless of the amount that you do, you know, like, everything helps these dogs. So like, we would love for you to join us.
We would.
And we would be so appreciative. And so would the puppies.
Yes, the puppy, we are crazy, but in a really fun way. And take it from someone who is, I have fostered both adults and puppies. Puppies can be really, really fun. And like I said, you usually don't have them as long because they go pretty quickly. So I mean, it can be a really, really fun thing to do.
Yes.
We've really enjoyed fostering puppies when we have.
Yeah, and you've been in the scenario where you're like watching a puppy for another like, we need foster sitters.
Yeah, I would do that a lot, where I'm like, I'll tell Jess, I don't think I can take a puppy right now, but if you need someone to take a puppy for 2-3 days, I can do that.
Yeah.
And that has always been super helpful. Sometimes we're shuffling them between one place or another, and that's always been fun too.
Yeah, and I think that's sometimes people's hesitation also to foster. It's just like, I have trips coming up, I have things I need covered. It's like, hey, we'll work together and we'll make it happen.
We will make it happen.
So we can always use temporary fosters, and I think that's the gateway also, like, where people start as a temporary babysitter and then they're in our foster program.
Listen, we'll gateway drug you into, like, this is a drug. Like, how can you not? It's just precious. Thank you so much for being here, Jess.
Thank you so much for having us.
You are incredible. You do so much to save lives in Kansas City every day.
Thank you.
And we're so lucky to have you.
Yes, we're lucky to have you too.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
You guys, come adopt Tucker and Tilly. They're pretty chill.
How can you not?
How can you not? We're going to leave everything you need to know about Made A Promise Rescue and how you can get involved, so you can get more information about them. But thank you so much for tuning in, you guys, for another episode of the podcast. We're going to be back next week for more, but in the meantime, please choose adoption. Thanks for being here. See you next time.